Hello fellow RPG makers and welcome to another video. In this video I will talk more in detail about events, how they are rendered on the map. I will also talk about how they work, and last but not least I'll finally mention plugin command, how to create them and how they work. So if we open the console, we can, as I have already stated in previous videos, find the sprites in scene.scene.spriteset .children 0.children2, and now we can see that we are inside either shader tile map or tile map, depending if we render on canvas mode or WebGL mode. And if we go to children, we can see 15 members inside an array. It is of course variable depending on how many events you have. First we have the Z layer, then we have sprite character, because this sprite character does not have it is an event and it does not have any sprite. As you can see here, it is empty. After these empty sprites we have vehicles, one vehicle, another vehicle, and another vehicle. You can always find the character, and you can see here game vehicle. Underneath we have finally the events that have sprites. So here we have eventID 3, eventID 2, and eventID 5. Now if you're wondering why it is that we have 3 to 5, it is simply that they are rendered depending on some sort of, I'm not exactly how exactly it is, but it is depending on their position on the map. It is not depending on their ID, but that means that if the events, for example, swap positions, they will also swap positions inside the array. So this is not exactly the most reliable way of catching the events or making them colored. Underneath we have the 4 sprites, 3 of them for followers and 1 of them for player. But of course that's the same case just as with the events. If I move them around, the 4 of them actually swap places, and if I change the properties of one of the sprites and I want to change the properties of sprite with the same index sometime later, it may not be the same sprite. So watch out for that. Underneath we have another Z layer. I'm not sure which this is for, but never mind that for now. And underneath we have a sprite. Once again, I'm not sure what it is for, but in the end here, we have the sprite destination, which is above all of them, and that is this beautiful rectangle that appears when you click, and it shows the destination. So that would be the sprite part. Now if you want to see the code part, you can see the game objects. Game map.events will show all events, and if you it is an array of course with indexes. If you want to show an event of particular ID, you go game map.event and let's say ID 1, and as you can see it only contains the on map information. It will get saved if you save the game, because it is the variable information that can be changed. As you can see, I of course have character name none, direction 2 because it's facing down, map ID 1, and other things like X and Y, or even move speed. If I want to change the move speed, I most definitely can, but I won't be showing on the event since they don't have any move routes. Instead I will show it on the player, game player dot move underscore move speed equals, let's say, 11, and if I now move around the map, I am really speedy. Maybe I can even, I'll just try decimal 4.5. It is slightly faster. Yep. So you can even have a decimal speed. Anyway, let's return it. Now, if you want to see or tinker with, for example, the event pages, you can see them inside that data map .events, and it is an array of events. As you can see, I have multiple entries here, exactly 6 entries, and that's because I forgot to save the game. But this entry is a null because I used to have an event that was ID 4, and that I actually deleted and then saved it. And since the game does not delete, if we take a look inside inside the map, the game simply does not delete the last bracket, so it actually deleted the event. Anyway, if I click on the event, let's say event 1, I can see the meta or node, which is, if I already have it in the event tree. If I open the event tree, not this one, but this one, this is the node. It is the raw text, and the meta then gets interpreted from that. Usually whatever is behind the colon gets saved as a parameter, and if there is no colon, it is automatically true. So you can see do is a string of an empty space and 22, because here I have an empty space and 22. If I want to change this to a number, I can create a parser function on mapload that converts this to a number if possible, but that's for another, it's for a bit later. And underneath I have the pages, where I have a list of pages. For example, the event 3 has 2 pages, event 1 has 1 page, and inside the page I have a list of various conditions that are set here, and I have a list of commands that, unless you know how to read them, won't tell you too much. As you can see though, it has a code, indent, which this is an indent, and it has also parameters, which is always an array. For example, here I have an array of 0, here I have array of 3, and it is always an array for consistency reasons. It is simpler to deal with one type of parameters than if I had, for example, here a set of numbers, here a set of strings, or here an array, etc. Most importantly though, you want to see the code. If we take a look inside rpgobjects.js, I can already see that I have command 301 and other commands as well. This is a command that describes what event command this is. So for example, if I see here, I have a command, it is 111, the first command. I can see command 111, I see it is a conditional branch, and since this is a conditional branch as a first command, we can see it checks out. Underneath we have 102, which is show choices, and we can confirm command 102, we can confirm that the show choices actually checks out, and I could confirm the rest of the comments as well, but I'm not going to do it. I will only do the first one, 402, which is when, and that of course means when the first option or the second option. Anyway, since we have events inside here, that of course means we can edit them. For example, if I, let's say, want to upgrade change items so that I want to display whether I gain or lose the items, I can search for the command change items. And now if I want to do it just through eventing, I of course can do the change items, okay, and then add a message, item ID of 1, gained. But if I want to automate the process, I can just take this command, copy it, paste it inside my beautiful plugin. And since this is a command that will, since this is not aliasing but overwriting, you should do it in a plugin that is as on top of the plugin manager list as possible. So I would just create a plugin that I would put at the very top, and I would keep it at the top no matter what. Anyway, if I want to add a message, depending on the RPG Maker MV version, there is either one way to do it or there are two ways to do it. In MV 1.5.1 and older, you have to do it the old-fashioned way. Message add, and now you can see there are various parameters here. The parameter 0, of course, is the item ID since we are gaining an item. Parameter 1, 2, and 3, if we take a look inside the change items, you can see this would be parameter 1, whether it's increase or decrease, and this will be the value. That is gained inside operate value. So if we take a look inside RPG objects, we see operate value, and that says that accepts three parameters: operation, operand type, and operand. So operation is here, operand type whether constant or variable, and operand is the value. So if operand type is 0, it is either the fixed value or the value of the variable, and if operation is 0, it is either value or minus value. In other words, if operation is not 0, we are losing items, and if it is 0, we are gaining items. We can use this knowledge in our message. For example, var gained equals this dot underscore params 1, and now since it should be 0 in order to gain, it means that the first value will be the negative, so lost, gained, and gained. What do we have here? The index var item name equals data items, this params 0 dot name, and of course the amount is saved inside the this._params3. So var item count equals this._params3, and now we can do the item name plus x plus item count plus gained. Let's save it and let's test it. If we create an event here, some beautiful lady, and let's gain a potion. Oops, I need to close the game. And if I talk to her, I can see that I gained 1 potion, which is true. I gained 1 potion. If I want to upgrade it by adding the icon, I can do it by using the tag plus, and now if I want to find the icon ID, plus icon ID plus, I will do it simply through var icon ID equals data items this params 0 dot icon index. That should be correct. If it's not, then we'll take a look here, and as you can see, I have the icon index potion times 1 gained. If I change it, or if I create another event that will instead lose the potion, and let's say 2, let's launch it now. Potion 1 gained, potion times 1 gained, potion times 2 lost. So as you can see, it works just as it should. It is of course kind of glitchy when you don't have enough items. We haven't lost any potions because we don't have them, but we are not nitpicking here. This is just for demonstration. If you of course want to put this into your game, you would have to deal with it a bit further to cover the cases when you don't have enough potions, but that's another chapter. Anyway, this is kind of awkward to deal with because you have multiple classes and multiple quote marks, but luckily for newer RPG Maker MV from 1.5.2 and newer, you can do another way. Game message dot add, you use these, I'm not sure how to call them, these kind of marks, and you simply go like this. And if you want to have a JavaScript operation here, you simply go $, curly brackets, icon ID, $, curly brackets, item name, x, curly sign, $name, item count plus gained. Or if I had them separated, I could simply write them like 2 separate operations, but since I have them like this, I'll do it like this. And now let's comment this out, and if I launch this, I can see it works the same way. It is just much more convenient to write. So let's now take a look at the plugin manager. if we take a look at the game interpreter plugin command, we can see it accepts two arguments, command and args. And if you want to write a plugin command, you write a plugin command, command name, and arguments are always separated by spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I launch the game, go to data items, not items, data map.events, take a look at the last one. I can see the list, parameters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and parameters, the command is then turned into the first parameter and args are the rest. So in order to override, not really override, but in order to create your own plugin command, you take the function, enter the plugin, and go. Oops. You will be aliasing it, alias my plugin game interpreter plugin command. You should have your own namespace for every plugin to make sure that you don't override either someone else's plugin or in fact even your own plugins. I have done it once and it is not the best thing to do, because if you do it, it will then be stuck inside an infinite loop and it will crash due to maximum call stack size exceeded. So make sure that whatever your namespace is, it will be unique for every plugin. Game interpreter.prototype.plugin command, alias my plugin call this command args. And now if command is equal to or is identical to command 1, and now let's say, since this is inside the game interpreter prototype and I will be calling the plugin commands from inside the event, I can simply create functions that are game interpreter prototypes. So this dot call I don't know, show alert args 0 plus args 1 game interpreter dot prototype dot plugin command, not plugin command, show alert equals function 1 num1 num2, and let's say alert not plus, plus, why not, args2 alert num1 plus num2. So now what this does is it accepts 3 parameters. It will add the first 2 and then use this another parameter to add this, and in total it would be this in this function it would be this one plus this one plus this one. So let's just test it. Plugin command 1, and now let's say 1, 2, 3, which in total will be 6. Let's make it a beautiful crystal. And as you can see, oh, I forgot, they are not numbers, they are strings. So it looks like this. But if I want, I will convert them to numbers. So number, and number. I don't need to convert the last one because number plus a string, unless the string is not a number, will equal a number anyway, but just comparison, not comparison, completion. And now I have a number 6. If I change it to 4, 4, 3, it will be 11. And if I change it to 4, 4 and forget the last one, it will crash because there will not be enough parameters. You should not forget about that. And boom, and not a number because I am trying to add a number to an undefined member. So this would be it about plugin commands, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.